Something you need to think about before you post anything online is who is your ideal listener. In the business world, there's this concept of the ideal customer avatar, the person who's going to most want to connect with your business. So how old is this person? What gender is this person? Where do they live? What are their interests? Very importantly, what are their needs and what are their wants? So it's good to take out a piece of paper and jot down all this to get an idea of who you're really targeting when you're using social media or when you're using any other form of marketing. And everything that you write online, all the pictures and videos that you post, should all be targeted to gain the interest of that person. The do's and don'ts of social media. Okay, let's start off with the things you should do. Have a specified musician's profile separate from private accounts. We all want to keep our business lives and our private lives separate as much as we can. Create content which drives people to the music and don't just post tracks every day. So if you have blogs that you've written or that have been written about you, interviews, pictures, any kind of media, you want to get those out there. Use media because basically large blocks of text are very off-putting. If you go off onto a rant on your Facebook and write, a couple of hundred words, you can't expect an awful lot of people to pay attention to it. Reply to comments. People will stop following you or stop taking an interest in your work if they feel they've made the effort to contact you or to give you some feedback and you simply haven't responded. Ignore trolls. Now, if no one has ever posted anything nasty about your music, that just means you haven't got it out very far yet. Everyone will pick up the odd detractor here and there, but don't get into ranty arguments with these people because it only upsets you, it wastes time, and it doesn't look particularly professional. So you can join groups, especially on Facebook. I'm a member of groups in Northern Ireland, such as Northern Ireland Musicians and Songwriters. And as discussed earlier, don't just post your tracks and run. You really use it as a networking opportunity. Link to your website and update it regularly. Now, you can't control the sort of online atmosphere of Facebook or Twitter, but you can control your own website, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So you want to ultimately encourage people to visit your website where you're sort of guiding the experience that they'll have. Have consistent branding across all platforms, and that is important. So you've got a consistent message everywhere you are online. Your sound and images should give the same messages. And only post high quality profile pics. So yes, your profile pic should be something that's really representative of your business. It shouldn't be a drunken selfie or something very blurry or something which really no thought has gone into. Now let's look at the don'ts. So don't insult individuals or whole groups. So if you've got your ideal customer avatar and you've got a very specific group that you're targeting, you still don't need to be offensive to other groups. So we avoid trying to be offensive to people of specific ethnicities, religions, or sexual orientations, that kind of thing. I once was added by someone who worked for a record label to his private Facebook, and on there he had a little prejudice against a specific religious group, which he decided that, Facebook was the place to vent. But ultimately, those of us who are running a business, who are business people, don't want our businesses to be associated with any kind of prejudice. I'm not saying you can't have your personal opinions, but just be a bit sensible in the way that you express them and try not to be bigoted in any way. Don't ignore interactions because fans will be pleased if you thank them for commenting. They like to think, that they've got a bit of a relationship going with you. And interaction creates more interaction. So the more comments that you get, the more people will actually see the post. And after all, music is all about forming relationships. Don't post material too frequently so that people go, oh my goodness, that's the 10th post from that person today, or too infrequently so they forget they ever liked your page in the first place. Don't add people to groups without permission. It's genuinely really annoying. Don't go into streams of consciousness and start sharing your life in inappropriate detail. I think we all have friends that do that when they're a bit drunk, and what we usually do is wrestle their phone away from them. So really don't do it in the business context of your music Facebook page. Don't post only songs and nothing else whatsoever. People want to connect with a human being and not a marketing machine, because as I say, it's all about building relationships. Don't post in public what should be emailed. And I talked about this in the Twitter section, that a feed that reads, please listen to my track over and over again, just doesn't cast you in the best light. Don't use low quality profile pics. And we've talked about that before.